Hey everybody, in this video, this is part 2 of how to manifest $20,000 immediately. Now, before we would get going here, if you haven't watched part 1, I'm going to post a link to part 1 here. Go back right now and watch part 1. Part 1 is the foundation. Part 1 is the audio version, with my voice, of course, of The Invisible Power, Chapter 9, of how Genevieve Behrend manifested $20,000. And remember, this was back in the 1920s. So $20,000 in the 1920s is around $300,000 today. So that's very accurate. I did my research on that to be really accurate. So if you haven't listened to part 1, go back right now, listen to part 1, and come back to part 2. Now, part 2 here, we're going to dive into the 7 steps that Genevieve Behrend took out of The Invisible Power, Chapter 9. So now I'm not reading it to you. So I pulled out the 7 steps that she exactly took, what she really did, and we're going to discuss those 7 steps. These are not my 7 steps, my friends, okay? So this isn't what I kind of collected over the years and put together 7 steps. This is 7 steps I took exactly out of Chapter 9, out of The Invisible Power from Genevieve Behrend. So now, lo and behold, let's rock and roll and go into these 7 steps. Okay. Now remember, Genevieve Behrend, I said in the beginning, Genevieve Behrend wanted to study with Thomas Troward. And then she calculated she needed $20,000. So $20,000 back in 1920s. The book was written in 1921, so I'm assuming it was probably, 1918, 1917, something like that when she manifested this money. I'm guessing she doesn't give the exact date. I only have the exact date of the book. So back in 1921, $20,000 is relatively around $300,000 today. So that kind of gives you wrap your mind around it. Okay, $20,000 today, it's still a nice chunk of change, but kind of put your perception on, like, if you were wanting to manifest $300,000 today and you did it within 6 weeks. That's the time frame that Genevieve Behrend gave how she manifested it. So now let's go into the exact steps that Genevieve Behrend took, and there's 7 steps that I pulled out, what she exactly did from that chapter. Now, step 1, okay, she said in the chapter, if you remember, she said she would do this hourly. And what she did was she memorized a quote by Thomas Troward. And the reason why she's memorizing stuff by Thomas Troward is because she wanted to study. She wanted to be mentored personally by Thomas Troward. And Thomas Troward, back in the day, back in that time frame, he didn't mentor no one. He wrote manuscripts, and he was very popular during that time. But according to her, he didn't have pupils. He didn't have people he mentored personally. So she wanted to personally be mentored by him. So that's why she wanted this $20,000. And, in this first step, she said, I have my notes here, that's why I'm looking down. She said she memorized this quote, and she said every hour of the day, she would repeat this quote to herself. And this is what the quote said. It said, "My mind is a center of divine operation. And divine operation means expansion into something better than has gone before." I read it again because I stumbled over my words. Okay, my mind is a center of divine operation. And divine operation means expansion into something better than has gone before. Okay, now this is Old English. That's why it's kind of tricky. And you might sit there and say, what does that mean? You have to repeat it over and over and over until you finally realize what it means. And to me, this means abundance. Abundance is within inside us. All spiritual texts, not just the Bible, a lot of religions, most spiritual texts agree on abundance. Okay, abundance is within inside us. Okay, if heaven is within you, okay, if God is within you, okay, God isn't an outside being. He's within us. That means abundance is within us. That means abundance is a birthright. So you're repeating that over and over and over until you finally just get it. Makes sense? Sometimes we can say, oh yeah, abundance is ours. Abundance is my birthright. But deep down, we really don't believe it. We really don't believe it to our core. Makes sense? So this step 1, this is what she did hourly. She said hourly every day. She just repeated this quote and she memorized it. And she memorized it so much, she just repeated it to herself almost subconsciously. So this is step 1. Okay, and step one, I like to kind of almost call it belief, because she's repeating a quote over and over and over and over until she just, to her core, she just subconsciously believes this quote, and the quote kind of grows on her. It has a deeper and deeper meaning, and it makes sense a little bit. So this is step one. She memorized this quote by Thomas Troward. Now step two, what she did is, now we're on step two. Step two, what she did, she said every night before bed, she would make a mental picture of the $20,000. Okay, so now she has a bedtime routine. She created this bedtime routine. So right before she went to bed, she made a mental picture of the $20,000 that she wanted. And this is how she did it. She said she counted the $20,000, and in her imagination, she counted $1,000, like a $1,000 bill, and in her imagination, she counted 20 $1,000 bills. Okay, she counted it out, like in her hands, in her imagination, every single night. And she said in her imagination that she had a purpose of why she wanted this money. And she wanted this money because she wanted to go visit and kind of stay, not with Thomas Troward, but stay in his country, stay in his area, so she could be personally mentored by him. So she needed this money to basically be able to relocate to where he lived, the town he lived in, and be able to get there. And be able to get there, kind of basically uproot, change, get a place to stay. That's why she needed this money. So she had a purpose for this money. Okay. Now here is what I want you to start doing here. I want you to start connecting. Okay. I'm pretty sure maybe you're very new to the law of attraction. You're very new to the law of assumption. You're very new to manifesting. Okay. This might be new to you, and that's great. Then there's other people, I'm sure, that I'm not the only person you listen to. You've been doing this stuff for a long time. You've been listening to law of attraction for a long time. No matter what you want to call it, manifesting, law of attraction, law of assumption, law of vibration. Don't get so tricky on what things are called. Okay, when we get so tricky on what things are called, we start debating the little things, and that's why you don't really attract what you want to attract. So you know all this information, okay, but you're really not getting the results that you really want. So what I want you to do is really start seeing the connection between what you already know, what other prosperity teachers you follow may listen to, okay, and see the connection here, because it's all connected, okay. Okay, if the teachings are good, they're teaching the same things over and over and over again, but they're just doing it in a different way. They're doing it in their own personality, and sometimes things can get confusing. So see the connection here, what she's doing. So, step two is she created this bedtime routine. So right before bed, right before she went to sleep, in her imagination, she made a mental picture of the $20,000, and she counted out the $20,000 in her imagination, that she had $1,000 bills. She counted 20 times. You know what I mean? She can kind of feel it in her imagination. She can smell the money. Money has a certain odor. Money has a certain smell to it. If you smell a dollar bill or whatever, it has a certain odor. It's hard to describe. You smell it, it's money. So, and she also, in imagination, she had a purpose for it. She knew exactly why she wanted this money. She needed this money. So that's step two. So she created a bedtime routine. Step three, she says, in chapter 9, The Invisible Power. Step 3, she said that she repeated step 2. She repeated her bedtime routine every morning and every night. Okay, now she's upping it. So now what she's doing is she's taking step 2. She has a bedtime routine in her imagination, but she's doing it morning and night. She started at nighttime, but then right when she wakes up in the morning, besides getting up and drinking coffee or running through the day like we do as a bad habit, right when she wakes up, she goes right into her imagination of the $20,000. She counts out the $1,000 bills. Okay, in imagination, she knows why she wants this $20,000, what she's going to use it for. She sees herself doing that in her imagination. She sees herself buying, I forget what the term she used in the invisible power. I think she took a train all the way there. She called it like some type of train ticket, something like that. It's an old time term. I apologize. but she didn't buy an airline ticket, but she bought like a train ticket to get there. So she saw herself buying the ticket, saw herself, in the train going there, saw herself talking personally with Troward, saw herself uprooting and living there, becoming his first pupil, the first person he's ever mentored personally. She saw herself do this in her imagination, and she did this morning and night. Okay, now those are the first 3 steps. So remember, the step 1, okay, she memorized this quote by Troward. Okay, this abundance quote. Okay, I'll repeat it because I want you to kind of connect things, because I'm going to go through these 7 steps pretty quick. Step 1 is, my mind is a center of divine operation. And divine operation means expansion into something better than has gone before. So she's repeating this. She said about every hour, it seemed like she's just repeating this. So she memorized it. She, once you repeat something over and over and over again, it kind of gets embedded in your subconscious mind. Okay, it doesn't take that much to really repeat it to yourself. Now, step 2, she created a bedtime routine. And step 3, she basically did her bedtime routine, but she did it in the morning. So now she had 2 routines. She had the morning routine and night routine, but they're the same thing. Right before you go to bed, then right when you wake up, you go right back into your imagination. Okay, now those are the top 3 steps. Step 4, what she did was, now step 4 was kind of very unique to me, and it combines several things what's going on, but I like to kind of quote what she said. Okay, step 4 basically combines step 2 and 3, but she said that she had no thought in mind as how the money might be obtained. Okay, she brought this up and she said exactly that in The Invisible Power in chapter 9. Okay, now imagine here for a second. Okay, she wanted to manifest $20,000. Okay, $20,000 today, it's a good chunk of change, but it's not that much today as it was back in 1920. So 1920, today it's like 300,000. So kind of put yourself in her shoes here for a second. She said, and this, I'll read another thing she said. She said, this part was easy. Okay, step 4 for her, she said, this part was easy because she had no possibility or reason how she could get the $20,000. Listen to this. Like, she, in her mind, she had no reason whatsoever. She saw no possibility, okay, how she could get $20,000. Because back in 1920, $20,000 was a lot of money. So she had no possibility how she was going to get it. Okay. Now, what she's doing here, it doesn't say it in the chapter, but really what she's doing here is she's letting go. She's stopping controlling the how. Okay, and this is where lots of times we kind of flub up a little bit. Okay, we do step 1, we do step 2, we do step 3. Okay, we get on a good routine here, but when we get to step 4, we can't flip and let it go. You know what I mean? At least me. Okay, I can just talk about myself here. And at the same time, we start to control the how. Okay, now what do I mean by that? Okay, I'm going to talk about myself, some of the bad habits that I have. Okay, one of the things is I don't look at myself as a controlling person, per se, but I like to, as an entrepreneur, and I've always been like this, and been like this in management, if I've been a manager, director, VP, a normal job, that I tend to overthink and overanalyze. So, especially in a work setting, as an entrepreneur setting, when you start overthinking and overanalyzing, what you're really doing is you're not letting go. Okay, you're controlling the how. And what I mean by that is, if I'm overthinking, overanalyzing myself, I'm trying to figure out, well, how in the world can I get this $20,000? You know what I mean? Okay, that's what I mean by controlling the how. You're trying to figure out how you can personally do this. Besides just letting go, completely forget, completely kind of leave that up to God, leave that up to the universe or whatnot. You're trying to figure out in your own mind, well, how can I get this $20,000? And let me give you an example. Okay, I'm back visiting my mom, my sister, brother-in-law, nephew, my nephew This is my nephew's senior year in high school. So I kind of been back here during his whole senior year, going to his football games and wrestling. He's going to be graduating in a few months here, but this is March, the beginning of March. So before that, I lived in Thailand for a year. Before that, I lived in Los Angeles for about 18 years. And I would come visit on and off, but not as much as I wanted. But I'm going to go back to Thailand. So probably, maybe middle of June, maybe July, something like that. So I have to look at graduation and stuff like that. So when I'm here, I have passive income coming in. I got income coming in from different websites and products. But then I start thinking, well, I want to make this much money per month. So then I start thinking of well, I could get a job. Okay. So in these small towns, I just went to a temp agency and they put me in a factory. Okay. Now all my time is made up of they're going to work in a factory where they treat you like they treat you like dirt. They don't want to give you breaks. I mean, talk about United States. It's almost like stepping back in the 1950s when you work for factories in the factory life. But I'm exhausted because it's physical labor. You're on your feet the whole time. They don't want to give you breaks. It's mandatory OT all the time. So you either work in the weekends, working 12-hour shifts or 10-hour shifts. And it's physical labor. Or you're kind of on a line, constantly doing the same thing over and over and over. Stuff like that. So it's a lot of wear and tear. But my example here, what I want to give is that, that's me kind of controlling the how. Okay. Rather than just letting go, rather than just setting the intention of, okay, this is how much money I want to make per month. Let it go. Stop controlling the how and let it come to me. Instead, I start thinking, well, how can I make $20,000 a month? So I thought, well, I can get a job as I got this passive income coming in, and both combined, I can make a lot of money, even though it's taking up a lot of my time. Makes sense? So that's what I started doing. I'm not doing it now, but that's what I started doing when I first came back to Ohio. But that's me trying to control the how. Okay, and what she's saying in The Invisible Power, what Genevieve Behrend is saying, is that $20,000 back in 1920 is so much money. Okay, it's so much money that she could even fathom. She couldn't even fathom. She couldn't even realize. She had no clue whatsoever how she could get the $20,000. Okay, so for her, she said this part, step 4 was kind of easy for her, but since she had no clue even how she would even get it, it was easy for her to let go. It was easy for her to let go of the how. Makes sense? So I'm saying makes sense a lot. I apologize. So she said step 4 is easy for her, but step 4 is something for me I really struggle with. And this is why, before we go to step 5 here, this is why I kind of want to stay within what I want to stay within step 4 is you have to pick a goal big enough. Okay, this is kind of my experience. Sometimes what we do is we maybe want to manifest $50,000. Okay, we do these steps and we do it for a few days. It seems hard, it seems unrealistic, so we drop it. You know what I mean? Now all of a sudden, not 50,000, we think 30,000. We do that a couple of days, but we still really don't believe it. We drop it to 20, or we drop it to 15, or we drop it to 10. You know what I mean? So that's what we do through our goals. That's why we never really achieve what we really want, because we keep on dropping their standards to what we really truly want. So what we end up doing is we drop it to a point where we might say, okay, I want to manifest $10,000. Then if you're like me, you start going to overthinking mode and overanalyzing it, and you start in your mind thinking to yourself, well, how can I make $10,000 a month? Well, I can get 2 jobs. Then if I get 2 jobs and maybe I have a product online, I would make $10,000 a month. So then you just jump right to it. You get 2 jobs. Then you have a maybe a little passive income coming in, and you make $10,000 a month. Okay, so you kind of got your goal, but you got the drizzled down version of your goal. Your real goal was 50,000. Okay, but you weren't persistent long enough because you didn't really truly believe you deserve 50,000 a month, or manifesting 50,000. So you constantly keep on dropping it until it gets more realistic, where in your mind you can figure it out yourself. So what's happening is you're truly, even myself, you're truly not letting go. You're not letting go. You're trying to force it. You're hanging on to it. You're attached to it. You're attached to the outcome, and you're trying to control which way it's going to come in. Like in my example, I'm trying to control, well, I can go get a job. Okay. So then I'm laser focused on getting that job. Okay. So I'm so laser focused over here, but in reality, the 20,000 is trying to come over here. But my head's turned, I'm focused over here, but reality is trying to come over here. But I don't see it. The reason why I don't see it is because I'm so attached to the outcome. I'm so much into controlling the how. I'm trying to control how it's going to come rather than completely let go of the how. And that's why I think more and more, the more I do this, is your goal has to be high enough where it's easy for you to let go. It has to be high enough where you really see no physical way you can do this. Makes sense? And that's why I kind of give you the pay range or the pay differences in 1920 versus 2023. Like for me, for example, for me to say I want to manifest $20,000, okay, my mind totally goes into how I can do that because I've done it before. Makes sense? I mean, when I used to work in the entertainment industry, I mean, I did a commercial. I only worked 2 days, and the commercial, almost said the commercial went viral, but did a commercial, worked 2 days. And when the residuals came in from that commercial, I made not grossed, it wasn't net, but I made around $35,000 to $40,000 working 2 days on a commercial. So I've done it before. So and nowadays, like if you want to manifest 10,000 or 20,000, the reason why it don't work is because it's so realistic to us that our mind goes into controlling the how. Our mind goes into exactly how to do that. I mean, you're at this point, you're kind of your own worst enemy. Okay. Now, do that example. Pick something that your mind starts going crazy. Your mind's like, oh, I can do this. I can do this. I can get a second job. Okay. Now, all of a sudden, say I want to manifest 300,000. Okay. So if I take Genevieve Behrend's example, she manifested 20,000 in 1920s. 20,000 today is 300,000. So if I say I'm going to manifest $300,000, okay, when I really say that out loud, my mind just totally shuts off because my mind, it's just like I don't know how to do it. You know what I mean? Like you have to give up. You have to give up the how. You have to let go of it, and you truly have to believe that you can manifest the $300,000 is coming to you. Okay, but your goal has to be high enough where you're kind of outside that range of you trying to figuring it. You trying to control it. You're trying to figure it out. Okay, and that's just coming from me. And it's a good little trick. Maybe it's 20,000 to you. Maybe 20,000. You start thinking, oh, I can do this. I can do this. I can get a second job. Or if I have a product, if I sell so many products per month, I can make 20,000. So your mind directly goes into that. But when your mind goes that way too fast, it's not intuition. Okay, it's control. You're trying to control the how. Okay, you're not following your intuition at that point. You're kind of like shoving it aside. But pick something like all of a sudden, okay, I want to manifest 300,000. When I want to manifest 300,000, I just totally let go because I can't see how I can do it. Okay. Now, granted, I could sit there and write a great big business plan and say, okay, I have to sell this many products to be able to do it. But 300, it's easy to do with 20,000, but it's way, way, way harder to do with 300,000. You know what I'm saying? So play those tricks with your mind. When I say I'm going to manifest 300,000, I just totally let go because I don't see how I can do it on a humanistic view, on a conscious level view. You get what I mean? But now let's kind of move on because I stayed on step 4 for a long time. But step 4, I feel that most people kind of flub up because it's hard to let go and we get into control on the how. And this is where most people get stuck. Okay, now, step 5, she always did according to the chapter. and invisible power. She always did these like meditative walks. She would go outside and walk. And when she would walk, she would kind of be in a relaxed mode. She would constantly repeat to herself, like step 1, that quote that she memorized by Thomas Troward. So when she's walking, she's repeating that quote. She's kind of very relaxed. She's, kind of doing a meditative walk, like a meditation type of thing. She's not walking around with her eyes closed or anything. But we've all done that. We take a relaxing walk. We're just kind of enjoying the moment, and that's basically what happens. We're really in the moment. We really enjoy the moment. But she said when she would do this, one day she said it came to her. All of a sudden it came to her. She was repeating this quote from step 1, and I'll read it to you because I don't remember it by heart. She's constantly repeating, "My mind is a center of divine operation. And divine operation means expansion into something better than has gone before." And she said, one day she was just walking, she was repeating that, and she finally just got it. It finally kind of just rooted in her what the true meaning of it was. And the true meaning is abundance. Abundance is your birthright. Okay? And she just fully realized abundance is inside her. Like she can have anything she wants. Once she asks for it, it's already hers. It just hasn't came yet in physical form, but it's already yours, already hers. So she finally just kind of like realized this to the core of her being, and she got really excited. And in this one of the things I want to point out is that this only comes when we're relaxed. That's why I kind of brought up she's doing a meditative walk. She's relaxed. Okay. You ever been tense? Okay. You ever been, you have to get work done or whatever. Maybe it's your job and you're under pressure, you're tense and nothing's coming to you. Then once maybe you go on break, maybe you go on lunch, maybe you go outside, go for a walk, and you just get relaxed. And all of a sudden when you're relaxed, everything starts coming to you. Okay. And that's what we have to understand about law of attraction, law of assumption. Manifesting is the more tense we are, okay, again, the tension creates force. Force expels stuff from us, Force keeps stuff from coming into our life, keeps stuff from manifesting. We're too attached to it, okay? It basically goes back to step 4. We're not truly letting go. We're still in controlling the outcome. We're trying to control the how. We're too attached to it, okay? And this is kind of what she experienced. And she experienced it because she was repeating it over and over and over. She was so relaxed. And finally, one day it just came to her. She just had an intuitive thought. She just basically got the gist of what Thomas Troward has been teaching her, or what she's been reading. Okay, this memorizing this one quote. Okay, it finally just sunk down in her core being that what it meant, and it brought her to life. But it only comes when you truly relax. And I have a little tiny example of this. Of course, you probably know, I've been revamping my YouTube channel. I've neglected my YouTube channel for years. If you go back to the history of my YouTube channel, you can see that. And, like nowadays, like if I want to post 5 times a day or 10 times a day on YouTube, now it's easy to do that kind of stuff because you can do shorts, you can do long form videos. You have a section where you can post pictures and post comments and stuff like that, just like Facebook. When your channel qualifies, you can do live streams. You can kind of do a little bit more once your channel qualifies for that stuff. But what I find, if I get too attached to the outcome, if I get too attached to wanting to post 10 times a day, and I focus too much on it, I become tense and nothing comes to me. I have no ideas. No posts come to me. If I do a short, nothing comes to me because I'm tense. I'm not relaxed. And then the reverse happens. When I'm super relaxed, a whole bunch of thoughts come to me. A whole bunch of ideas come to me. I have ideas of shorts throughout the whole day because I'm relaxed. I've kind of let go of the outcome. I'm not so attached to it. And what I did this yesterday. Yesterday I was going to take Sunday completely off Now I went outside. It was actually nice out. I went outside. I did a walk, and I probably was gone for an hour and a half, 2 hours walking down the road. I posted some shorts doing that, walk down the road. There's a creek down here, like a little river, the bridge. I was walking along the river because we got a lot of rain, so it was high. It's not really a river. It's more of like a creek, like a stream. But anyway, it kind of brought back memories. I was really in a moment. I relaxed. I let go. And once I relaxed and let go and truly kind of enjoyed being outside and truly enjoyed being in the moment, right when that happened, it was weird because all of a sudden I was like, oh, I could do a short on this. I could do a short on this. I could do a short YouTube video on this. All of a sudden, everything started coming to me. But it wasn't until I truly let go, truly relaxed. Remember, tension, okay, you have anxiety. Remember, tension keeps you from manifesting. Okay, that's why I post a lot of stuff, even shorts. Oh, have fun. Go do what you like to do. Start putting that into your daily routine because having fun puts you in that moment. Okay, you lose yourself. If it's truly something you love to do, you lose yourself in it. Makes sense? You forget what time it is. You're not sitting there looking at we don't look at watches anymore. Sometimes we do. You look at your phone or whatever, look what time it is at work when you're so bored. When you're doing something you really enjoy, next thing you know, 3-4 hours going by and you're like, dude, what the hell? What happened? Okay. So that's what happens when we relax. So that's step 5 is relax. Okay. And that's exactly what she did. And she did these walks and meditative walks that kind of put her in a mood. And then she had this intuition that really came to her. Now, step 6 kind of goes along with step 5 because step 5, she did this meditative walk and she finally realized what this quote by Thomas Troward truly meant for her. So she said that kind of changed everything. And she said that night, which is step 6, she said that night when she went to bed, and remember, she has this nighttime routine where in her imagination, she counted the $20,000. She had $1,000 bills. She knew exactly what she was going to use this $1,000 for. She could smell the money and I would say taste it, but but you get what I mean. But she said this night was totally different. This night, she said, this time it changed. She said the other times, she said the other times when she always did her nightly routine, she said that exercise was kind of like she was forcing it. Makes sense? If you ever done like the bedtime routines on manifesting or imagination, when you first start doing it, it feels like you're forcing it. It feels like it's fake. It feels like it's not real. You don't really believe it. And I think that's what she's trying to say here is that it always felt to her like she was trying to force it. It wasn't natural. She didn't just lay down and go right into her imagination and really believe it to her core. Like she was kind of forcing it. She had to force herself to do it. She had to force herself to go into her imagination and create this reality in her imagination. But she said like this night was totally different. She said that she basically came home, and when she went to bed that night, she said it was like effortless. She was so relaxed. She was so confident. It was effortless. The sensation she had, she said she couldn't describe it. She laid down. She went right into her imagination. It wasn't forced. And she just counted out the money like it was truly hers. Saw herself, buying the train ticket, traveling to Troward's town, and living there, becoming his first pupil, first person he mentored. And she said this time was totally different because it wasn't forced. It was just like it was meant to be. She's done this so much. This time it was just like it really happened. It was really hers. And she said that's when everything started to change. And this is where I'm kind of in step 6. Remember, in step 6, okay, she manifested the money within 6 weeks. From like the beginning to this part, she manifested the money, manifested the $20,000 within 6 weeks. Now, it doesn't say in the book like how the money came or how she got the money or whatnot. It just said it, at that point when she laid down that night, and it was like effortless. The sensation was weird. It was effortless. She just counted to it like it was really hers at this time. And she said that night she had an intuitive thought, an intuition of how she could get that money, how that money would come to her. And when we talk about intuition, I'm not going to talk about intuition a lot here, but a lot of people, I think, including myself, what messes up a lot of people is you always hear with law of attraction, you always hear with law of assumption, law of vibration, you always hear comments and people will jump forward and say, well, you can't just sit there and meditate and a big pile of money going to fall on you. You have to take action. You have to take action. You always hear people say that kind of stuff. You have to take action. It's about action. It's not just about sitting back and meditating. And a part of that is true, okay? But also a part of that is false. Okay, yes, we have to take action, okay? But the most action people take is forced action. Okay, just like my example, okay, back in step 4. Remember, step 4 was more about letting go, stop controlling the how. Okay, when you're trying to control the how, you're not truly letting go. What's happening is you're taking action, but you're taking forced action. You're forcing it. Remember, when you force something, it kind of repels from you a little bit. Okay, we've all had situations where we like somebody, but we try to force them to like us. We try to force, you know what I mean? We want them to like us, whatever. We're trying to force running into them. It never really works out because they can feel that energy from us. So it kind of repels them from us. It's the same thing. We're trying to force any situation, even force our goals. Force controlling the how. Okay, it repels from us. Okay, now how intuition comes in, how proper action comes in, it's kind of like what I like to say as intuitive action. Okay, you're relaxed, you're calm, and once you have the intuitive thought, once you have an intuition to do something, that's when you take action and do it. Okay, that's the difference between just taking action. Most action people take are forced. It's forced action. Remember, force negates. Okay, you wait, you're patient, and once you have an intuition to do something, that's when you take action and you do what your intuition is telling you. Okay, and that's how she wrapped up step 6. Now, step 7 is my own. Okay, step 7 is being persistent and consistent. Okay, and I think step 7 is where a lot of us mess up. Most of us, you know what I mean, is we're just not persistent and consistent long enough. Okay, we want immediate gratification. Okay, we want it now. You know what I mean? If we don't have it in a few days, we start second guessing ourselves. We start telling ourselves, oh, this don't work. The reason why we're saying this don't work, because truly to the core, that's what we really believe, okay? Law of attraction is always working, okay? You reap what you sow. What you truly think, that's what's kind of coming to you, okay? But you have to be persistent and consistent enough to really, truly believe you can have the goal that you want, okay? And that's what Genevieve Behrend did, okay? She was persistent and consistent enough going through step 1 through step 6. She just kept doing it day in and day out and day in and day out. Yes, it only took her 6 weeks. That's really a small period of time to manifest that amount of money. Okay, but she was persistent in it. Okay, she didn't give up. Okay, even in the beginning when it felt weird to her, even in the beginning, she didn't really even believe it to her core. She kept doing it until she believed it. Makes sense? And that now at this point, I'm just going to go over step 1 through 7 again, but very, very quickly as a review. And I'm not going to go into, the length of time that I just went into, because we've been going about 38 minutes here. So thank you, by the way, for staying with me. If you're with me this long through this video. But anyway, Genevieve Behrend was persistent. Step 7 is being persistent, consistent, not giving up. You stay with it until you master these 6 steps, until you truly believe what you want is yours. That's really what it is. So step 1, she memorized a quote that she repeated every hour of the day. That quote was, "My mind is a center of divine operation." And divine operation means expansion. into something better than has gone before. That's step one. She said this until she truly believed it. In the beginning, she didn't believe it, but she was consistent enough to keep on doing it until she believed it. Step two, every single night before she went to bed, she went in her imagination and she counted out $1,000 bills in her imagination that totaled $20,000. Then she knew the reason why she wanted a $20,000. She did this every single night. She didn't give up. She did this until she totally believed she could have it. Okay, she didn't give up. Step three. Okay, step three, she did this morning and night. Every time she woke up, she went into her imagination. Every time she went to bed, she went into her imagination. Okay, she did this morning and night, morning and night. She didn't give up. She kept on doing it. Step four, she let go of the how. She let go of the how. She let go and stopped controlling the how. I kind of said it wrong there. She let go and stopped controlling the how. She completely let go of how she was going to get the $20,000 because she didn't know how. $20,000 back then is $300,000 today. So she had no idea in the world how she was going to get this $20,000. She just knew she wanted $20,000. That's how much she needed to actually do what she wanted to do. Okay, she just completely let go, completely stopped controlling the how, but she had no idea how she was going to do it on her own as a human. Okay, she had no clue. Step five, she did relaxing meditative walks. Okay, as she was walking, she would always repeat step one, the quote by Thomas Troward. And the biggest thing here, being relaxed. When you're relaxed, things start coming to you. Okay, you start manifesting, and that's what happened here. Okay, she was relaxed and she was persistent and consistent with saying this quote over and over and over. And one day she woke up doing this meditative walk. She's relaxed and it just came to her. She just truly believed to her core that abundance is inside her. Okay, abundance is her birthright. She truly believed it. Then step six, when she came home that night, everything changed when she did her nightly routine. When she did her nightly routine, she wasn't forcing it. She said before it felt like she was forcing because she wasn't in the habit of doing it. She probably didn't really believe, to her core that she could manifest this $20,000. And she said once she figured out step five, once she was relaxed and she figured out the true meaning to her core about this quote she's been memorizing, it made her nightly routine totally change. It wasn't forced. She did it effortlessly. Okay, that's the term that she used. And she just went down. It was just natural. It was just supernatural for her to sit down. She went right into her imagination, started counting this money like it was already hers. And it was so natural to her. And that's when the intuition came to her. She had an intuitive thought. The intuition came to her. A gut feeling came to her, like how she could get this money. Then she acted on that intuition. Okay, step seven is being persistent and consistent. Don't give up, my friends. Don't give up and think that this doesn't work. Okay, you have to keep on doing it until you get your goal. Okay, one of the things I do like what Neville Goddard says. If you follow Neville Goddard, did you allow Neville Goddard teachings? You listen to his lectures. Now I listened to this one audio. He says that through all his teachings, okay, through helping people, manifest things, he's never had one person not get what they want. Not one. He said, if you stay persistent and consistent, you'll always get what you want. It always works. But the thing is, we can't figure out the gestation period. Okay, we can't sit there and say, well, I'm going to give it a week and it's not here, then I'm going to quit. Because when you have that mentality, you reap what you sow, because you already don't believe you're going to get you already don't believe from the beginning you're not going to get what you want. So you get exactly that. You don't get nothing, but you really believe you're not going to get it anyway. Okay, so you have to be careful of your thought process. But everything has a gestation period. Everything, once you put the thought out there, okay, if you completely let go of the how, that's already working to come to you. Bottom line, my friends. And the reason why we want to stop controlling the how is because as it's working to come to you, it could be using other people to connect to you, to be able to get the goal that you want. Okay. And when you control the how, you stop blocking all these things from happening. You truly just have to let go, stop controlling the how, be persistent and consistent. Don't set a date. Okay. Don't think like, well, by this time I'm going to have this. Stop trying to control the gestation period. Everything has due time. But what I love about Neville Goddard is he said it always works as long as you don't give up. Okay? You always get what you want as long as you don't give up. You always get what you want as long as you hang in there. Makes sense? Because we truly have to get good at these steps. These steps by Genevieve Behrend are very basic, but we can make it difficult too, because it's really changing a belief pattern, how we truly think to ourselves. Okay? We all talk to ourselves. Okay? We all believe things that we just don't tell people how we truly believe. Okay? We talk to ourselves probably very negative than how we talk to other people. We're probably more negative to ourselves than we are with other people. Okay? You attract to yourself the level that you're on. You attract to yourself the secret you. Okay? The secret stuff you don't tell anybody. That's the level you attract on. That's why you have to be persistent and consistent with these seven steps. But that's it, my friends. I've been going about 45 minutes. This is probably one of the longest videos I did. But this is part 2 of how to manifest $20,000 immediately. And like I said, kind of during this talk, 20,000 might be totally out of your reach, and it's easy for you to let go because you have no clue how you can get it. If you find yourself having trouble letting go, stop controlling the how, you have to master that step. But sometimes it could be where it's easy for you to sit there and say, oh, I get a second job and I can make this, or I can do this, I can make this. Well, your goal is not high enough. That's why I put out the example of 300,000. Okay, if I sit there and say, I'm gonna manifest 300,000, my mind totally just flipping shuts off. Because I can't, it's just, when I start to try to think, it's like my mind shuts off because I totally just stopped controlling the how. It's like, okay, I want $300,000. I don't know how I'm going to get it, but I just know it's coming to me. That's how your mindset has to be. Other than that, my friends, hopefully this helped. It was kind of a long-winded message, but there's a lot of stuff in here. But this is directly taken from Chapter 9 of The Invisible Power by Genevieve Behrend. Anyway, comment below. I love you guys. I know that sounds weird, but thanks anyway from following me, following the channel. We're going to do some great things in wealth, health, and prosperity, but thanks for subscribing and all that jazz. I've been spending a lot of time on YouTube, so really ramping up the YouTube. YouTube is the only thing I use right now. I'm not on Facebook, Instagram, or anything. I have those accounts set up, but I pretty much set everything aside and only focus on YouTube, just because it's easy to get scattered throughout all the platforms. So I'm only on YouTube. So that's why it's easy for me to post 5, 6, 7, 8 times a day, because that's the only thing I'm on. Just because I really want to build up my YouTube channel and because I've neglected it. But anyway, thanks for listening. Thanks for subscribing. Comment below anything. I try to answer all the comments. Sometimes the pings don't come through my phone, but I really try to answer everything that comes through. But sometimes I answer the corny stuff too, just as a farts and giggles. But anyway, thank you, and I'll see you in the next video.